So how do you go from this, a spent casing, to making this, to making a round, produces a 0.3 MOA accuracy out of my 308 Remington 700 SPS 20-inch tactical. How do you go from just piece of brass, high precision round? Alright, welcome back to the second part of this series. Now here we're gonna actually start to work on reloading this round. This is a 308 Winchester. This particular one is loaded with 168 grain Hornady AMAX. Behind this sits IMR 4895 capped with a CCI 200 primer. All of this sits in a Federal cartridge case. I love Federal. I found the best results. You can see the stamp, FC. I found to have the best results with those and most consistent. I found the Winchester and even Hornady brass to be a little too soft, so I want to see if I can get as much life out of this one. You know, you can go with Lake City or some kind of military geared brass that's a little heavier and harder. I don't really care about that. Or custom, like your little Puma or Normas. Well, I really don't want to spend that much money because I don't plan on shooting anything extreme. My goal with this rifle is to be proficient up to 800 yards. 1,000, I want to hit 1,000 yards with this round in my rifle, but I understand it's not feasible to be able to hit that all day, every day with the setup that I have. This particular round is fired out of Remington 700 SPS Tactical 20-inch barrel, 1 in 12 twist. Again, 168 grains, so I know the limitations of this round. If I can hit consistently 800, that is my maximum. I'm a realist, and even though my rifle might be able to do it, I don't think I can do it all day, every day. So once you get home from the range, once you have all your brass kind of grossly inspected, make sure it's not really dirty or beat up, then we're going to put it in our tumbler. I'm using Lyman tumbler, and I'm also using Lyman tumbling media. I found this type of media to work the best for me. It leaves a little bit of dust in it, but I wipe my cases off anyways after every step, because what I'm going for is precision rounds. So once we're done with the tumbling, and I always recommend that you tumble as soon as you get home from the range or as soon as possible. Now we have a nice clean spent casing, and we're gonna build that into our round. So after the case is prepped, I have it trimmed and ready to be primed. Sometimes I like to polish the cases, so I'll throw it in a fresh set of media. I have separate set of media for polishing only, and I throw some polishing, brass polishing additive. There are certain media types that come loaded with brass polishing media in it. However, I choose to do it this way. So if that's what you desire, you go ahead and do it. That's just the way I do it. So let's begin. You just saw me pull this out of the tumbler. So we'll do a little gross inspection. Tumbler always leaves a little residue, a little dust, so I like to kind of clean it up. Check it out, make sure there are no dents, no pressure signs, no neck cracking. So that's what you want to look at. So first things first, we're gonna deprime this baby, since I think it's a viable one. So once we have inspected this case and I like it, we're gonna deprime it and neck size it. I have my die set up according to the Reading manual. I also have appropriate shell holder, and I have my collector of spent primers. So I'm going to use a little bit of that Imperial Reading wax. Since I'm only doing the neck, I'm just going to do the neck and shoulder. Just a little dab on the inside. I'm not going to do the dab on the inside every single time, maybe every 5th or so case, because this stuff is really good. So we're going to place it, kind of guide it up, lever all the way down, all the way up. You can hear the spin primer pops in. Now if I were doing this for real, or in my usual way, I would do maybe, I usually use the 10 of them, and then I would wipe them off. Again, inspect, make sure there's no scratching or anything that would indicate any kind of malfunction. So I like this. Now I'm going to consult my manual and see what my case overall length or case trim length is. Okay, and then I'm going to select to see what I have trimmed my cases to. Alright, case overall length 2.005 to 2.0010. Okay, so that's where I want my case to be. Alright, turn it on and make sure it's nice and flat. Measure it once, rotate, measure it twice. This one measures 2009. So I want mine between 005 and 09 or 10. So that is within what I want. Now this one measures 2012. So I'm going to trim this a little bit. And I have one of the old ones, or one of the first ones that I made as a dummy, as a template. That way I can set up my case trimmer. So I'm gonna move this. So my case trimmer set up with my gross adjustment and my micro adjustment. I'm gonna put it here. Gonna keep it loose until you engage. So this is a 30 cal tip that's gonna fit. Once that's fit, I lock it so I know it's centered, and then I spin, and you can hear it scratching, and then it becomes smooth because it has removed the necessary amount. So we're going to go back. Alright. So now you can see, I don't know if you can see, the one that I didn't have to trim. You can see the difference how this one is shinier. That means that this is flat and it's actually sharp. So even with the one that I didn't have to trim, I use the deburring tool, chamfer deburring, and I just go nice and light, because when it goes through the die and it pulls it out, it kind of makes it flat. And this way, just nice and light. You probably don't really have to do that. And then I wipe it off. Like I said, I use that brush to clean that neck, because that's very important for that neck to be clean to provide proper neck tension later on. And then I use the tip, Q-tip, and there you go. Now that is clean, superb. Now the one that I trim is going to need a little more work, and you can hear that now. It's because it has sharper edge. And I use a little more pressure, and then you just kind of fine polish at the end. And now that is also, now that's a uniform case. It's superbly clean. So next, I'm going to look at my primer pocket here. You can have some residue, so you use appropriate size. And there you go, some stuff falls out. You can use different Q-tip. Again, there's a pocket uniforming tool that you can use. There we go. It's nice and shiny. This one isn't. So let's do a tandem 2 rounds here. Nice. There we go. Now that, my friends, is a prepped case. It's a very simplified process, but if you do your steps properly, it's laborious. It's not easy. It's boring. I usually have a little bit of background music going just so I don't start talking to myself, which is not a good argument to be part of. Just kidding. So that's our prep case. Let's move on to the next station. Now we're ready to prime. Like I said, my manual indicates use of CCI 200s. This is the primer that I found works really well. I also like to tape these edges with some leftover stickers, just because sometimes it gets bumped and you fall out. So slide it out, there it is. Our primers. I'm going to open this. It's a bit tricky. Okay. Flip it over. Now, these trays are designed that if you shake them, it'll turn it in the correct way. They have these little beads which applies traction onto the open side, because the other side is smooth. So once you apply traction, it lines them all up. Be careful not to drop these. Slide the cover, get them all loaded. You gotta do just one shot here to load, and you're ready. Again, you want to point this. I'm pointing this away from your face, where eye protection, please. Slide, make sure it's centered. There you go, kind of nice, and hold it just for half a second there. Flip it over, make sure it's flat. Make sure it's not protruding, but it's not seated too deep. And then I would have my loading block set up, and there you go. That's one. Make sure another one cycles through. Hold it, center it, hold it for about a second, pull it out, test it. Visually, you can put it on a flat surface, see if it tips, whatever your thing is. And there you go. That's a prime case ready to be charged with powder. Alright, now we have our powder measure set up with appropriate powder. I have my scale balanced. So I'm going to go down, and I have my system up. What I'll do is going to shake it, measure it once, again, and if it needs a little more, I have this trickler, and you just kind of turn it until you get to the desired weight of your powder. Okay, and just to make sure. Alright, so that's my desired weight for this round. Please don't rely on my data. Make sure you use whatever your manual says. What I have here is what I've been working for about 6 months to develop. So I started low, and my goal was accuracy. So it's not the fastest or the quote-unquote hottest load, but this is what I desire for my accuracy. You have to develop your own. Do not rely on mine or anyone else on the internet. Okay? That would be the biggest mistake you make, because everyone's rifle is different. Alright, so we have that properly measured. Shake it. There you go, make sure it's charged. Now, it's very important to develop a system here. How you gonna distinguish, because once you start doing it over and over again, you know you have 100 rounds or 1,000, whatever your flavor is, how you develop a system to know not to double charge. It's not possible. You cannot put two charges in one case, but it will make a heck of a mess. When you pull it out, some powder will spill in different cases. It'll be all over. You're gonna bump it, get nervous. You're gonna have to start the whole block all over. At least that's what I do when I mess up. So my system is, I move my funnel here, and then I go measure another one, verify, charge, move. That's my system. Okay, so I'm going to do one more off camera, and then we'll be ready to seat the bullet. Okay, so what I'm doing here now is setting up my bullet seating die. Now, according to the Redding recommendations, you can use this seating die with a crimp or no crimp. It uses a roll crimp. I desire not to crimp my bullets. So, I'm going to follow their instructions. that's my initial setup. I'm going to back out my bullet seating plug, one turn. There's my projectile, 168 grain Amax. And if you've done everything right, when you just put it on there, it'll sit nice and straight. And go nice and easy. Okay. Looks like it's too long, which I know it is. Yep. So I'm gonna. There are numbers on this one, on this plug, that I'm gonna orient to, and I know how much each turn is. So I'm just gonna kind of go nice and easy, walk it in. I know what I want. So that took a 10 thousandths. Give it another quarter. Gonna walk in the first one. Alright, I'll give it 1/8 here. Alright, that's where I want to be. Now you can buy the Reading ones, you can actually buy seating plugs with micrometers. Not just Reading, but there are other manufacturers, but you can exchange this with Reading. You can just take this plug out and put a micrometer, what they call a competition bullet seating die. You are more than welcome to do that. I don't need to spend money because I don't like it. Again, I don't load 1,000 rounds a month, so I can kind of go nice and slow and get a feel for it. There we go. Let's do one more and see how this stacks up. It says within half of 1,000ths. Not too many tools in the world can measure that. So I'm going to call that good. Now again, with the bullet comparator, this is kind of more accurate. So we're going to do this. And use my, like I said, what I call my practice or my template round. Measure off ogive and let's see how we do. So nice, that's consistent, those two rounds that I've already built. There we go. Everything checks out. Again, my numbers mean nothing to you. My numbers are my numbers, developed to my chamber, which is probably cut differently from the rifle that my brother has, which is the exact same rifle, and very close in serial numbers. That's how that works sometimes. So the bullet comparator, I initially measured off the tip just because I wanted to see how consistent it is. It's actually fairly consistent in mine. So I have two brand new rounds. They look identical, just a little shinier than my two comparator rounds. Now that, my friends, is how you reload. Some simple reloading of a 308. Thank you for watching, and if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and follow, and we'll make some more. Next is probably going to be 45 ACP.